channel with the Natural BodyWorks, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about dry needling again, because I get phone calls and people want to know, why do we have to do an exam before dry needling? Well, because we want to know what the heck we're doing, really, is the point. Now, there's a bunch of things we got to know. Now, let's take example as the shoulder. The shoulder, these are what are called the motor points or acupuncture points. These are the dry needling points that I tend to use. They're right in the bellies of the muscles through here. And we're just going to use the shoulder. We may go up here through the occiput and then the necks, the rhomboids, maybe the infraspinatus, the supraspinatus, down into the arm. And the reason we do this is because we're actually going to be looking for where the problem really is. Now, it might not be just in the shoulder. A lot of times you may feel pain in the shoulder, but it's coming from the neck. Or pain in the elbow, but it's coming from the shoulder. Or pain back here that you didn't even know you had until we do some palpation. So we have to do palpation. We have to get a history first, right? We have to get the idea of what we're going to be doing first and why we're going to be doing it. We want to take a history and find out, have you had any surgeries? Have you had any problems with other injuries or anything like that? Do you have any implants in there? Are we working on areas that have been previously damaged? What kind of work do you do? What kind of repetition stuff do you do? What kind of things are you getting in your body? You know, I mean, we got to know these kind of things, and it's important to get an idea of which needles we want to use, how we want to, what direction they want to go in, right? What location they want to go in, or we want to put them in, and which muscles actually are the ones we want to work on. Now, there's a lot of different muscles we can work on when we're doing dry needling. Now, there's no way that it's the same for every patient. In fact, every patient that comes in and says, I have shoulder pain, we do different sets of needles. Now, dry needling and acupuncture, when we put them together, that's the way it really was. I mean, I learned it in Japan back in 2002, and basically they called it ashi, which means it hurts here, so put the needle there. That's only a piece of it, because we have to look for a few different signs when we're working with the needles. And the needles can be, I think I've shown these before, but these needles here, this is a traditional or a typical acupuncture needle. These are completely blister packed. They're all sterile. They're brand new. They're nice and flexible. They're all stainless steel, and they're super duper sharp, as you can, I don't know if you can see, but they're really freaking sharp. This is about 0.3 millimeters in diameter, and we can use thicker ones on some muscles and thinner ones on other muscles, depending on what the muscle is doing. Now, muscles have a few different parts, which I should probably go over, but we'll go over that in the next section. So when I'm working on someone, I want to find out a few things. I want to find out what their history is, how long have they had it, why it's there. Maybe it's something else. Shoulder injuries, shoulder pain may not be the shoulder. It could be your heart. It could be your gallbladder, liver, if it's on the other side. It could be referral from the neck. You could have a disc injury. You could have all kinds of different injuries that we have to worry about and think about before we go jabbing needles hither willy-nilly in you, okay? So it's important to know where they should go and what direction. Now, that takes skill. You can't just put them in from anywhere. You can, but you don't get as good of a benefit. Now, the other thing, too, is in the process of me doing the first treatment, I get to see, which muscles, and we get to see your range of motion. You know, we do range of motion, so can you lift your arm over your head? Can you lift it over your head this way? Can you reach and cross over and all this kind of stuff? Is there pain? Where's the pain? Is it pinpoint? Is it referring? Is it moving pain? All of these kind of things make a difference in where we put the needles, how we put the needles, how long they stay, all that kind of stuff. If we're able to really determine it and narrow down where we want to have those needles and how long, that's much better. Now, next time, the second visit, we want to review what we did the first time. The first time, a lot of times, more questions come up than answers. You find out that, there's a whole bunch of different muscles. Now, here's some things that I look for in the first visit. Now, one, how relaxed is the person? Have they had this before? Have they had the injury before? Have they had that kind of treatment before? I don't do the psycho stabbing the thing. We don't go after it too much like that, because that just does more damage to the muscle and pisses it off, and you can actually get a rebound effect. We don't like that. So we want to place the needles, set them properly. We're looking for a few things. Number one, I look for, did we get a twitch? This is kind of like the holy grail. If it twitches, and I'll show you a little video of it, somewhere in the corner or something like that. If it twitches, that means you got that muscle motor point. That's where the nerve meets the muscle, and that's kind of the biggest part of the muscle spasm. Sometimes you'll even feel like almost like a hard section inside that muscle, because we want to do hands-on palpation a lot when it comes to dry needling. Not just the range of motion, not just the history, not just, how is it moving and how does it feel, but we want to really get our fingers in there and feel what's going on. Okay, we can't treat just one muscle, because it's going to tell us there's other muscles involved. Sometimes it'll twitch with that muscle, sometimes it'll twitch away from the muscle. That's called chasing the tiger. Okay, or we're going after the next place. The body's asking you to pay attention to this next twitch area, because you start fiddling around down there, wherever it is. Usually it's from the shoulder into the arm or something like that, or into the back. When you get that, now you can actually get more whole body and whole system repair going on. Okay, second thing I'm looking for is a red flash. It's a histamine reaction, it's a cytokine reaction. It's a typical thing, we want to see it. If it's a nice small, about the size of a dime, that's perfect. How long did it take to get there? How long did it stay? Did it really turn red, or was it a little red? Sometimes people get kind of welty in that area where the needle is. The needles, you've been cleaned. We used an alcohol swab and we cleaned the area. The needles are brand new and clean, so there's nothing on them. So the histamine reaction is your body's reaction to a needle being in it, which is important, because we're causing injury inside the muscle, and the muscle is going to bleed inside there, and then it's going to go through a repair process. And that's the important thing. And that's why we want to see you again in a few days. Usually not first or second day, maybe third, fourth, fifth day, somewhere in there. It started to heal. We can see how it reacts. Many people are sore the first day and then feel better the next. Or they feel better the first day and they're sore the next, whatever. Everybody's different. The other thing we're going to see is there a tug when we put the needle in, regardless of where we put it. We want to see, depending on depth, of course, is it really holding on, or is it moving freely, or is it kind of like, is there kind of a squeak to it, like it's being held on? And that's an important part too. This is part of this Dai Chi kind of thing that we use in acupuncture. Now there's a little tuggy feel, like it's like when you pull it, it almost like it's being pulled back, like a fish on the end of a fishing line, and it's an interesting feel. Sometimes patients don't realize what's going on until you tell them. The twitch, usually pretty dramatic, and the patients can go, whoa, I felt that twitch, but we are getting our needle in there and moving around, and sometimes it'll twitch, sometimes it'll turn red. If it doesn't turn red, is that a problem with histamines? If you've been taking medications like an antihistamine, which would cause that to not happen as well, maybe. Or maybe you have a chronic issue of inflammation and it causes a bigger red mark, okay, or a giant red mark. That's a possibility. Now we also want to know, it takes skill to know how not to put them into arteries, into veins, into lungs and stuff like that. If you put them up through here, you could hit the lung. That's a possibility and cause a collapsed lung. But that's why we have, we check things. Some people have more tissue, some people have less. You have to know the direction, the depth, the angle, the location of where to put the needles. This is all stuff that we learn, and you should learn, or you should know if you're a dry needle and acupuncture person, a practitioner like me. I mean, we should know these things. So when people ask, why should I have an exam, an evaluation beforehand, this is why, okay? You won't know what you're doing until you get in there and do it. Now, how are you going to find out how you did? You just let people go, and then they say, oh, it still hurt 2 days later. Well, that's part of the process, okay? This is never a one-visit thing. It's never a... it doesn't work like that. It's like going to the gym, working out once, and expecting to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It just doesn't happen unless you already look like him, okay? You're the same size or something. You go there and you work out. Oh, I feel great. You get pumped. You feel good. You feel sore a couple days. Then you got to go back. You got to keep that up, man. That's how you build things. That's how you change things. Same thing with any kind of like physiotherapy or physical therapy, chiropractic, massage therapy. One time may feel good, but it ain't going to fix it. So, trying to think of other things off the top of my head. Sometimes you have the twitch. We go after that. Sometimes we'll get around the needle, and I'll show that too, a little white mark. That little white mark right around the needle is a contraction of that life energy called the chi. And when you have that kind of contraction, the tissues tighten up around, and the needle will be hard to pull out even. Now, once it all loosens up, and after a few moments or minutes sometimes, or sometimes when you move the needle around after the twitch, the needle should come out as if it was oiled. It's kind of a cool thing. So I'll try and show some little like snippet videos down in this corner or something like that. See if I can do that so to show you guys what this is. But I got a couple phone calls and people were asking, well, why is it I should pay extra for a first visit when all you're doing, well, it's not all we're doing. We're trying to figure out a lot more than you think. There's a lot more that goes on in 25 years of experience or even 4 years of experience, someone who's just starting out with this kind of stuff, is we're trying to really look beyond that one section of pain because it could be so many things. Now, people explain pain differently. Some people's pain is sharp. They may have a pain scale that's different from you and me. My pain scale may be from, they're always from like say 0, no pain, 10, excruciating pain, can't sleep, can't, screaming and hollering, that kind of stuff. I may always be at a 4. Just because of my normal work schedule and my normal way of life and how long I've been doing things and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I may always be at a 2. You put a little poke on me and I may, immediately go to 8. I may not really feel some things. People say they have high pain tolerances. I've never really seen people that say they have high pain tolerances be really much different than people who say they have low pain tolerance. It has to do with perception. It has to do with relaxation at the time of the treatment. So anyway, that's kind of a spiel on dry needling and why you need an eval before and after. You got to find out what you're doing. You can't just go throwing needles. It's not like playing darts. I wish it was. But it's not rocket surgery. So anyway, this is Dr. Sean with the Natural BodyWorks. Don't forget to subscribe at the bottom. This is a little bit different than the ones I usually have been doing. I've been doing stuff on the transcranial direct current and the acupuncture pen and stuff like that. So this is all about dry needling. Guys, talk to you later.